Hi everybody, so this isn't really $1 million question, but I have spent a fair amount of money on my little Xbox Series S since I bought it several months ago. But first off, I've got to say, playing Call of Duty Vanguard on a next generation console like the Xbox Series S is really, really good. Really enjoyable. It runs super smoothly so far. And I'm mainly playing the multiplayer, so I'm playing Domination all the time, and I'm playing it with all the different tactical pacing, so 12v12, 24 versus 24, 32 versus 32, 7v7, whatever it is. I'm playing with all of those. And it is incredibly smooth, incredibly fast, incredibly crisp, and feels like a next generation game should. However, I've always found Call of Duty tends to run pretty smooth all the time, doesn't it? Even on my, I say even on my PlayStation, on the PlayStation 4 and on the Xbox Ones, it's always been a good looking game and a well run, smooth playing game. One of the things that Activision insist on and the developers insist on is hitting that 60 frames a second target, which it kind of always has done. It tends to slow down a bit when you have big explosions and things like that, but it's always run well, and it runs well on a next gen console. So you may say, well, why bother? And what's all this money you've spent on the Xbox Series S, Rob? Well, what you've got to remember is that the problem with the Xbox Series S is its lack of hard drive space. So although the console only costs £250 in the UK, which is brilliant, it only has a 370GB hard drive once you've installed, the operating system and all that sort of stuff. So then you're like, okay, so what happens then if I want to run more games? Well, if they're Xbox One games, so last generation games, no problem. You can plug in an external hard drive or external SSD and run them off that. So, for example, I've got a 1TB external SSD that I already had, that I didn't have to buy, and all my Xbox One games are on that. So PUBG, DayZ, all that sort of stuff. And then you have the internal drive, for the super fast internal drive for your next generation games, your Xbox Series S and X optimized games, such as Call of Duty, such as Back 4 Blood, such as Flight Simulator. But pretty soon that internal drive starts to fill up. So if you think, if you want to play Xbox Flight Simulator, which you probably, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which you probably do if you've got an next-gen console, that's like 100 gigabytes. And then let's say you had the last Call of Duty on there, like Black Ops. Well, that's like 60, 70 gigabytes. Let's say you had something like Back 4 Blood, the optimized version. Well, that's like 50, 60 gigabytes. Pretty soon, it's full. You've got no extra space. So what you have to end up getting is their expansion card, which gives you an extra terabyte of super fast SSD, which plugs into the back of the console. The problem with that is it's incredibly expensive. It's I think it's like £200. So all of a sudden, your £250 bargain of a console is £450, which isn't that much different from the price of an Xbox Series X, which comes with a 1TB SSD, so has about 750 gigabytes free memory. So it's like, oh right, okay, so that's quite a lot of expense, isn't it? Now, you don't have to do that. You can copy games backwards and forwards between your external normal SSD or external normal hard drive and the super fast internal memory, but that takes time, and I found it can lead to problems with DLC and stuff like that. So there's that, and there's also the fact that recently I got the my monitor, my gaming monitor, my 27-inch 1440p 120 frames a second monitor. So that's a chunk of money. That was £200. So I've spent a lot of money on this little Xbox Series S. But am I happy? I guess so. Playing a next gen console on a next gen monitor. Sorry, on a 1440p monitor it's a sight to behold. Now, you can't really see this on the gameplay video that you're watching now because I'm recording that at 1080p 60 frames a second, I think. So my my little laptop can process it in a reasonable amount of time. But the sharpness you get from, for example, 1440p, which is the Xbox Series S's native resolution, combined with 60 frames a second on a game monitor, makes first-person shooters, and I guess third-person shooters as well, incredibly responsive and incredibly immersive, and takes the whole experience to a next level. I mean, I could also add in the fact that Thrustmaster were very nice and sent me one of their super duper controllers, which I'm using as well, which is super responsive, and it's a wired-in controller, so any input lag there has been negated enormously. So what's it like playing Call of Duty Vanguard on an Xbox Series S? With a gaming monitor, it is pretty damn good. Feels very, very good indeed, and I'm enjoying it immensely. The only thing I'm kind of struggling with at the moment, which isn't really to do with the Xbox Series S, is the combat pacing, tactical pacing, how many players you have on each map. Because I'm mainly a domination player, and I find that when it's 12v12 or 20v20 on these bigger maps, it's very, very chaotic, and it doesn't feel you can play that tactically, you know, unless there's a lot of you on the flag attacking to capture it or defending it. As a solo player, you can't do that much, so I'm kind of struggling with that at the moment, but overall I'm having a lot of fun. So if you're thinking about going next gen for Call of Duty Vanguard with something like an Xbox Series S, because you can actually buy these, they are out there and available, I would highly recommend it, because it's next-gen gaming, it's reasonably priced, and it is an awful lot of fun. Anyway, that's enough from me. What do you think? Put your questions in the comments down below, and I will, of course, see you again soon.